change. Yeah, it's time to break the chains. Yeah, it's time to bring the pain. Let them know, tell them we are not the same. I'm the one that got the flames. With my team, as you know, we come to slay. Let them know that we didn't come to play. Nah, we came to win. I'm ready for anything that they can bring. Bring it on, let me do my thing. I'm a giant, they can move the game. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you got, you gotta let them know. You are on another level, you are ruthless.
Welcome everyone to the Sonoma Raceway. Welcome to the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld on the iRacing service. It is the top split, one of two for this week at the newly refreshed, newly rescanned Sonoma Raceway. It's going to be one heck of a event here for you this afternoon, as per usual. 30 minutes on the clock. And this is going to be the Indy 2007 layout, 2005 to 2007 layout more specifically. And we'll go ahead and bring in the schedule for tonight's, coming into today's race. And we have Long Beach and Rudskogen over and done with. Nicholas Shepard, 2 in a row so far this season. Defending series champion, having a great start so far. He had a little bit of a challenge, but we currently are at Sonoma, and next week we head to Atlanta. In 2 weeks, we head to Mexico City, the Hermanos Rodriguez Grand Prix circuit, Donington Park, then Olton Park to round out the month of October. And then once we see November, well, we'll get to that point. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the starting grid to see who will be starting where at this afternoon's event. 21 cars on the grid. We have Olivier Henrico, I believe, starting off on the front row. Actually, hold on, double checking. Nope, now it's Michael Folds. There's still some drivers saving some lap time, so we'll see. So, Michael Folds up on the front row. Olivier Henrico starting in second. Third place, Michael Coates. Fourth place is Charles Wolfe. Fifth place is Eugenio Palucci. Starting off in fifth. Tom Sanders starts off in sixth place. Seventh place is Matthew Bartlett. Eighth place is John Miller III, just alongside. Matt Mullins will start off in P9, and then P10 is rounded out by Tony Wallace. Gregorio Moreno Jr. starts in 11th. 12th place is Jean-Francois St. Pierre. 13th place holds Frankie Sugamelli with Aaron Reynolds to his right-hand side. In 14th, Justin Reynolds, probably a relation there, especially judging by the exact same paint scheme that they have. You never know. He starts off in the 15th place position. And then we got 16th place, occupied by Kevin Creamer. Matt Mosby starts off in 17th. 18th place is Kyle Genske. 19th place will hold Eduardo De La Pena, who rounds out the last of the drivers that had set a qualifying time. Eric Schulhoff starts off in 20th, and 21st is Pete Loops, a name that is missing, shockingly enough, from the starting grid. Is what would be the number one of Nicholas Shepard, but he has not made it to the split. I don't know if he's even registered, because the next split would have been pretty much half the strength of field of this one. So actual shock in terms of drivers that are a driver that's not here. So by default, we're gonna have a new race winner for the first time in nearly 3 months, exactly, just about. I guess we'll see how things fare. Who will be the one to break the record? Technically on merit, because Shepard isn't here, but I would say also not technically on merit because Shepard isn't here, shockingly. We'll see how things fare, because the drivers are going to have their eyes up on the flag stand. And as the revs rise, the green flag drops, and we are racing here for the first time at the refresh Sonoma. John Miller has not gotten going in the background. He has not gotten going. He's stalled on the grid. I don't even know if he's in the car. He is on the grid, but he has not gone just yet. Folds leads the field down in turns 1, 2, and 3. And through the downhill and then uphill section they'll go. I'll bring in the new timing tower, and you'll see what's new about it here as these drivers make their way down through the carousel. They have single filed themselves out here as they make their way through. Top 2 as they started. It's going to be a battle now between Charles Wolfe and Olivier Heinricho. Contact is made. Olivier gets turned, and he'll fly off the racetrack. Hard on the brakes he goes. He is able to continue on, though, but he'll have to try and work his way around. But after contact with Charles Wolfe for second place, Olivier has fallen back to what is effectively P20. Miller has gotten going, by the way. He is going. He has made it to the grid. Well, more accurately, his car. His car made it to the grid, but he did not make it to the grid. But there's the new portion. Not the exact way I wanted to showcase that, but there's the new timing tower in action. Thanks to the brilliant minds over at ATVO, a month, literally like 3 weeks ago, so at the start of this month, they had brought in animated timing towers, and I missed that memo a long time ago because only now, only recently, it's been updated to the beta branch of ATVO, which is what we run off of. So I didn't know this was even in an alpha state until it came to the beta stage. So we'll see how things go. Look how wide everybody's taking the corner exit. Basically just a suggestion at that point with the white lines. They are carrying the momentum. My voice is gone already. My goodness. I'm going to need water after this. And just like that, we have 28 minutes to go. 27 minutes, 50 seconds more accurately. And Michael Folds is just down and away. Launches himself over the curbs. Matt Mosby, Kevin Kramer battling for the 14th place position. Those curbs going to be 1,000% a challenge here as demonstrated by Kyle Genske on corner exit there. That was also demonstrated by Matt Mosby just up ahead, who saves it. Snapped loose. Coming back up onto the racetrack, but he does manage to hold on to it. They'll go side by side. Genske has to swing the car to the left a little bit more than he anticipated. That's about for 14th. Will continue on. Let's see if we can do intervals here. There we go. Side by side still between Mosby and Genske. They're going to be battling between each other here as they'll make their way down towards the S's. Corner exit, advantage goes to, I would say, Matt Mosby, but no, he doesn't get a good of an exit compared to Genske. So Genske will have the position. Here comes Kevin Kramer just sneaking the nose up, tries to put the nose there, not able to. He could show the nose here into the braking zone, into the chicane. He decides against it. He was quite hard on the brakes, though, quite late on the brakes. I think Genske was a little bit later on the brakes as well in comparison than both of those two. Sanders and Polici battling. They swap positions, same with Reynolds and St. Pierre. And on the bright side, now you see the position swaps more clearly than I do, especially considering we do still have the old timing tower just in case. But this one is still not entirely done yet, but a little bit of live testing never hurt. But shout out to Nick Visson, Simon Grossman, the ATVO team just in general for getting this out. In general, this is something I've wanted for a long time, and well, now, luckily, all of you watching can follow along with your favorite driver in case a position does change. You can see it way more clearly than ever before, quite literally, just like Matt Mosby getting by Kyle Genske there in the background. So Mosby up to P14, Genske down to P15, and that battle may have sorted itself out now. We'll see how things fare. Right now the gap you're seeing is the gap for the car ahead on your screen. So as an example, Michael Coates has Michael Folds 2.3 seconds ahead of him, about 2.4. We're taking a look right now at Charles Wolfe and Michael Coates. Michael in the front row. And just taking advantage of all the curbing there is Charles Wolfe. That'll just sit here and see if anyone tries to make any moves here down into the chicane. Eduardo de la Pena's gotten past. Means Heinricho has made his way up. Oh, Kevin Kramer may have overshot just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more than necessary. We'll take a look back. Let's take a look at the line that Kevin takes throughout this chicane. This is a great example, too. It's right there. And that is worthy of a slowdown for the number 12. So Kramer, as a result of that, has fallen down to 17th place. This battle for 2nd place might continue on. In the meantime, we'll see if we can rerun this back to the first lap where Heinricho and Wolf had main contact, because we never really got a solid look at that off in the past. Let's see if we can get to that. There we go. And taking a look at this from up above, the best angle that we have, and just moved a little bit too much. We did see the ending of the spin there, but from the from up above, from a better angle. Now I come back to live pictures. Does Wolf make a move on Coates into the chicane? No. Anyone else here having a look? Maybe a little bit of a look, but not necessarily a move. Although we will get ourselves a move here into the chicane as Francois St. Pierre tries to at least show the no, he turns Aaron Reynolds. No. Oh, no. Aaron Reynolds turned around. Eugenio Pollicci turned around in the hairpin on the final corner as well. And still, we have just under 23 minutes remaining. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. I have to look from up above here. I mean, it was clear as day there, but I cannot believe what I've just seen. Obviously, yeah, that cannot be intentional. There is no way. And then Pollicci, a little bit up ahead, a little further ahead, gets contact as well. We'll see what happened with him into the hairpin. And just a little bit of a nudge there on corner exit from, I think that's Matt Mullins. No, it's Matthew Bartlett. That's Matthew Bartlett that I made contact with. We'll have my take here in a second, because back live we have Mosby and Olivier battling side by side. Mosby up to P13, and Henrico, not Heinricho, Henrico, apologies for mispronunciation, Henrico is now P14. As for that contact from St. Pierre, very out of character for him. I'm not saying it's intentional either, just definitely misjudged the space that he had available. I think he was torn between either sitting behind Reynolds or following Reynolds or showing the nose, and well, the indecisiveness did cost him. Unfortunately, cost Reynolds more accurately. Definitely not intentional by St. Pierre, I would think. That would be well out of character for him to be that aggressive. Racing incidents do happen, and that's what I'm personally chalking it up as. And hopefully don't get a racing incident here between Wolf and Coates, because Coates is under fire from Wolf here. Ooh, contact is made. Mosby and Henrico in the wall at the hairpin. Contact is made. Mosby has towed back to pit road. What has happened between these two? The bumper is missing off of Henrico. He turned away just for a little bit. That's the tail end of that. What happened on corner entry? This is for P14. What happened here? From up above, Henrico follows through a little bit loose on corner entry, but he's fine. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Mosby got loose. Henrico tried to go around, and contact was made, and then, well, towing back to pit road. Eventually, were both drivers. That is heartbreaking to witness. Well, battle for what is now P11 between Justin Reynolds and Francois St. Pierre, or Jean-Francois, more accurately. Tony Wallace getting passed by Pollicci for what's now P8. Sugamelli in a lane of his own for P10. And then Francois St. Pierre hard on the brakes, a little bit later on the brakes here into the chicane. Follows through. I don't think he's gotten himself... Ooh, a slowdown penalty. Kyle Genske making his way up to P14. Oh, wait a minute. Michael Coates? Michael Coates has lost positions. Hold on. Did he cut the course? Did Coates cut the course? I just saw that drop down. I saw him drop down on the timing tower. Genske as well as going into pit road. Not sure as to why Genske is going to pit road, but Coates has dropped positions. What has happened to the number 7? What is going on this week? It's absolute chaos. Was it the chicane? Or did he get loose? Let's see. From up above. Did he get loose going into the hairpin? Did he get contacted? He goes wide and just nails the wall. Wow. Oh, he might have steering damage too, actually. By the way that car pulled, I think he's got steering damage. Let's run this back one more time. We'll see. So we can get just one more angle. I think the blimp was the best one. So we'll go ahead and look at it from one more time. So watch how the car behaves here. He just hits the wall there, hits it again, and it pulls there. He's already off the wall, and it pulls for that last time. So I think that's what I would think. That Coates has some sort of steering damage. Let's ride in car with him. May have been coincidental as he flings the wheel to the left-hand side. We have a battle on 1,000% for the last 2 spots on the podium now. Riding on board with Coates. It is pulling, I think. It's hard to tell. It should be okay. It may have just been a product of getting off of the wall. Just trying to get back going, trying to hit the throttle. Tom Sanders, by the way. Shout out to Tom Sanders here. He had snuck his way all the way into the top 3 here. We've only really seen him hover kind of around the top 5, top 10-ish area. So like 5th through 10th, just about. Is normally where we've seen Tom Sanders. So Sanders being in the fight for 3rd place here, even for just the podium spot in general. He could close out to Charles Wolfe, we'll see. But Sanders being in the fight for the podium spot is definitely worthy of a shout out here. He started in P7. So we'll see how things fare between these 3 as Reynolds and Kramer have swapped positions in the background. We'll take a look back here at this potential battle for 3rd place. Does Coates try to make a move into the chicane? That's the more ideal spot to make a pass, I would say. Especially since Coates is just going to be right in the wheel tracks here, right in the slipstream. He's a bit closer to Sanders than Sanders is to Wolfe. So we'll see how this goes. The run downhill into the chicane. Does Coates show the nose? Decides against it here, but he's going to be right on top of that back bumper. Just throwing the MX-5 over the curbs. What a fun car this is to just throw around, especially. All 3 of them going a little bit wide. Oh, a little bit too close for comfort, if you ask me, to the outside wall there. Wolfe trying to break the slipstream a little bit. Sanders back to the racing line. And scythes himself right back into the racing line. Definitely right on board and go through the field, see where everyone will start here in just a few moments' time. Right now, I'm just taking a look at this battle. I'm just watching, waiting to see what happens between these 2. Coates sitting on the back bumper. You see Bartlett and Mullins there off in the background in some of these camera shots. They're going to be over hill there. That's 5th and 6th, Mullins and Moreno Jr. Actually, no, correction. That is Bartlett and Mullins. Apologies. Bartlett in that glossy red. Mullins in, I believe, a new, I think a different colored livery this week as well. Normally he's running the black and, or the blue and black, I believe, but a little bit of a different color for him this season. In the meantime, Sanders has closed the gap back to Wolfe. So he has stayed from Coates for the time being. Does he decide to make a move? No, none of them decide to make a move as of now. I would argue, look at the previous lap times. In fact, just by the gap alone, just by the visual gap alone, Bartlett and Mullins are catching up to these three drivers through second, third, and fourth. Especially if sliding on the corner exits like that, it could be closer and closer and closer. We could have a 5-car battle here for second place. You'll be sticking with this battle on your screen. Keep a visual eye on any drivers you're following on the timing tower, and if they swap positions, well, now you'll see it more than ever. Not only just from the gap itself, but the new position swap animations at the same time. Look at Sanders just launching his car over each of the curbs. Hard on the brakes, down through the carousel they go. Both Wolf and Coates tracking their tires into the dirt. This could lead the opportunity here for Sanders. He's going to make the move up to second place if he can get to the inside. Side by side goes Sanders. He saw the opportunity, and he's going to take it. He saw the gap. It was there. The preferred line, however, is going to go to Wolf this time by side into the braking zone. Who can outbrake first? Sanders, relatively even, I would say. He'll get pushed out wide, and he falls right back in line with Wolf. Although I think he's going to go for the gap again. He does. He makes his move, gets himself up to second place. And while it's not for the lead, Sanders, again, deserves all the credit possible to be up here, on merit especially. He is in the fight for the podium spot. He'll be in line for the first podium spot that we've seen for Sanders especially. Ever since we started broadcasting this series from last season. And now Sanders has to go defensive here. That's going to be him versus 4 other cars. Look at Wolf trying to show the nose. Cuts it close to the wall. And on the uphill they go. They all stay in line for the time being. This has brought in Bartlett and Mullins into this battle. Again, a 5-car battle for the second place spot. And all the while, Michael Foles is just cruising away with a 6.5-second lead. He's been in the conversation for wins in the past. And he has won one race last season. This time he's going to add a second win to his tally in the last 2 seasons if things continue as they are. And that's one big if. But Foles wants to be the one to challenge Nicholas Shepard for the win. Oh man, especially for the tally of wins this season. This is no doubt going to be used as a drop week though for Nicholas Shepard. So the best 8 weeks are scored in the championship points, and considering that Shepard had won, I think, 7, if not 8 in a row last season? 7 in a row, I think 8 total last season is what it was. Especially in the latter half of the season, Shepard had, by default, pretty much won by that point, won the championship just on not even including drop weeks. I think his best week was probably, I think his worst week for Shepard was probably at least second, third place? I have to start keeping spreadsheets here at this point. Sanders, he's going to get forced wide by Wolf. I don't know if there's actually contact between those two, but either way, he's going to give a whole host of space. Sanders going to fight back, though, here on the uphill into turn 1. No, not able to get there. I thought he was going to be able to keep it there, keep the momentum, show the nose, but no successful move as of there. So it's Wolf back up to second. Sanders still in third. Coates, he was ranked second for quite a while here, but after tracking wide into the outside wall of the hairpin, he has fallen back to fourth, and he has not been able to recover, and he nearly dropped it there. He just saves it. Coates wants that third place spot. He wants that second place spot, no doubt. He was running there in second for a while. Tracking wide, nearly dropping it there on the entry on the downhill. It could have been all over for Coates. Does he make a move here into the braking zone? No. Bartlett, Mullins biding their time. Bartlett in that red and white Mazda. Mullins in that new black and green Mazda. I think last season was primarily blue for Mullins. So let's see how the run downhill towards the chicane goes. Keeping an eye on everything throughout the field. And a mention to... shout out to Matt Mosby, who is back going. Same with Oliver Henrico. Mosby is going to go back out on track. Kyle Genske, oof, tracking wide a little bit. He has lost a few positions earlier on. He's not necessarily recovered. He did go the pit road for 17 seconds. It could have been, if he was in pit road for 17 seconds, in his pit stall for 17 seconds, more accurately, my guess for Genske is that he did not put enough fuel in after qualifying. So shout out to Matt Mosby, who is still racing after sitting in his pit box for 11 and a half minutes. More accurately, 11 minutes, 37.1 seconds. And he is back on track. He's not going to see a lick of any extra positions, and he's going to have these whole host of cars behind him, but he's still going to finish it out. So I have to give a shout out to Mosby. I think this will be the first time that we would have, if Henrico comes back out on track, I think this will be the first time that we would have all drivers finish a race. Could be wrong about that. Again, I'm going to need spreadsheets for this. At this point, going to need some spreadsheets here. I might have to start making some after this. But regardless, the battle for second place continues on as the time continues to tick down, just under 8 minutes. And Charles Wolfe will lead the battle for second place ahead of Tom Sanders, Michael Coates, Matthew Bartlett, Matt Mullins. Right on the back bumper, all three of these cars. Coates on the back bumper of Sanders, and then Bartlett on the back bumper of Coates. All through that chicane. A prime opportunity to make a opportunity here, and all three of them make more contact here in the hairpin. We'll see how things fare in these last 7 minutes. And oh, by the way, Folds pulling a Nicholas Shepard in terms of just absolutely lighting the charts up here. In fact, the fastest lap time in general should be, I believe it is Michael Coates, 1:43.264. His last lap time was a 1:44.402. So times are dropping, and they have been throughout this race as the tires continue to wear down. They're just sticking with this battle for now. There are other battles they can follow along on the timing tower. This one visually we'll be sticking with. The joys of having an MA timing tower is that everyone can follow the position swaps now. Especially with the gaps set to interval. In case anyone is watching for the first time, well, the way to follow the interval time is that the time next to somebody's name is their gap to the car ahead of them. So let's use Justin Reynolds as an example. He's currently sitting P12. We'll show him as well. He's currently sitting 0.6 of a second behind, or ahead, whichever one you want to use, of Jean-Francois Saint-Pierre. So that battle could continue on here, going into the closing stages of this race, and into the chicane. These top, well, 6 go, technically. Tracking out just a little wide again is Coates. Still holding on to it. Into the hairpin they go. A little bit less contact this time around as Charles Wolfe gets loose. He tries to defend, shuts the door. Almost a staggered 3 wide. Sanders forced to use the brakes. Coates goes around the outside, up to third. Side by side they go. Sanders tries to switch back. No, Bartlett gets to the inside. Side by side between Sanders and Bartlett. This is not what Sanders would have wanted, but here he has the preferred line. He'll slot right back in line. Bartlett had a look at the podium. It was right there in front of him, almost quite literally. But for Sanders, that is slipping out of his grasp just a little bit, but it's going to be back in his hands with that exit from Coates. He went off track. Here comes Sanders to the inside. Much like the move that Sanders made on Wolf, Sanders goes up to third, and he'll have the preferred lane here, even though Coates tries to fight back. Now side by side, are they? Well, there it is, door to door, wheel to wheel. Later on the brakes is Coates. Around the outside he'll go, but Sanders fights back with the preferred lane. Here comes Matthew Bartlett into this battle. He'll have to slot in behind these two. Sanders needs to shut the door, and he decides against it as Coates falls right back in line. But Coates is not done just yet. Sanders, although he's back in the podium spot, still under fire from Michael Coates. And with that sort of an exit out of the hairpin from Charles Wolf, it could happen again. It could happen to anybody, especially. It doesn't happen to Charles again off turn 11 here. Not this time, although it does happen to Coates. It happens to Coates. He gets loose. Coates tries to hold on to it. He does somehow. After lighting up the rear tires, he holds on to it with 3.5 minutes left. Coates has fallen from 4th down to 6th on corner exit. No contact was made. He tried to hit the gas, and he does the same thing. I think he just hit the wall too, and he tries to keep going. Well, remember what I said, that if it could happen, that it could happen to anybody. There's your evidence right there. This battle for the top 3 is staggered out now. Next time by the start-finish line, it will be 2 laps to go. Here's Michael Folds. He's just having a great time right now, I'm sure. He's just sitting here. He does not know what's happening behind him. Considering how far he is, he's almost pretty much wrapping around the other side. Oh, look, there he is on the other side of the wall there. Folds does not know what's happening. 10.2 seconds and growing behind him. He just sees clear track in front of him. He's okay. All right, now the battle could be on for potentially P4. Matt Mullins, by the way, has made his way. We completely missed that, by the way. With that slide from Coates, Mullins had flung himself to the right-hand side. I think we have enough time to look back on this as well. Let's see if we can run this back to that point of corner exit. We might have multiple attempts here. Almost there. Almost there. Let's try one more. There we go. It's right-end car. And it worked out so well. Let's run on board with Coates. Let's just listen in. Oh, that's what happened. He just kept his foot in the gas. I can see why he wouldn't want to let go. Let's take a look from Matt Mullins. Seeing Matthew Bartlett there potentially closing the distance. Sanders nearly matching the lap time of Charles Wolf last time by, so maybe that battle could be all said and done. And oh, by the way, we are pretty much on, I believe, the final lap this time by. Actually, no, we are on 2 laps ago. The next time Michael Folds crosses the start-finish line, then it will be the final lap. So not now. We are not on the final lap just yet. But soon we will be. Folds? Actually, no, sorry. Sanders, he is closing the gap just a little bit to Tom Sanders here. He's close 0.2 of a second. They got lap traffic up ahead. Sanders has closed the gap again. 0.4 of a second now. Charles Wolf is not playing in the pace that he needs to retain that second place spot. Here comes Michael Folds this time by as they exit the final corner. It will be officially the last lap this time by. There's a white flag being waved at the flag stand, and Sanders is going to be loving this. Do they make it out of the final corner? They do. And here comes Sanders. He's in the slipstream of Charles Wolf. He could match his car number here and finish in second place here after qualifying 7th. Sanders could finish in second here. Going wide, that was Kyle Genske, I believe. I think that was Matt. Yep, that is Matt Mosby, who is just up ahead of these two. They're going to be focusing on this battle. Oh, Sugamelli and Wallace haven't made contact on the last lap, and they're about to be passed by Justin Reynolds, who's going to go around these two. Here comes John Miller III. He's had a very quiet day for Miller. Contact is made hip and shoulder to Tony Wallace, and hip and shoulder to John Miller. This is for 10th place. Reynolds off the track, Wallace up to 10th. Reynolds just holds on to it. Somebody's engine goes. Oh, Coates is around. Coates is off. Unfortunately missed that. Coates is off with damage. He is not going to be able to finish. Reynolds and Sugamelli battling for their spot. All while Michael Folds. It's going to come down to the final corner. We'll see. Any moves here for second place? We'll see. Folds. Does he make it intact off the final corner? He does. For the first time since last season, Folds gets his first win at Sonoma in the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series. And now the final corner, the drivers have been battling for second place for so long. It ends up with a successful defense from Charles Wolfe. Tom Sanders gets his first podium in the season. And for the final corner as well, Eugenio Polici will go side by side, staggered with Gregorio Moreno Jr. And for the 10th place spot, it's going to be, well, 9th place, correction. It's going to be John Miller III. He started in 6th, had a quiet day. Tony Wallace will round out in 10th place. As the rest of these drivers come across the line, mere tenths of a second separated from each other in the final stages. Oh my goodness, we have so much to catch up on, don't we? Oh boy. For the first time since last season, is a different winner on the podium. Michael Folds with a successful and Nicholas Shepard-esque drive. We're going to have to go through pretty much the entire final lap here. We're going to be a while. Let's start with this battle for the top 10 spot. What happened between Sugamelli and Reynolds? Well, that was the worst camera shot of all time. We'll try that once again. Sugamelli did come to a dead stop here. Let's see. From up above, that's what I meant to do the first time. There we go. Oh, man. Did he just lock up his front tire? I actually have no idea. Oh, I see. And he does try and redress the position. He does come to a stop. That is good sportsmanship from Sugamelli to Tony Wallace. And here comes Justin Reynolds. Just let's take a look from up above here. There's Reynolds. He moves his way into 10th place. A little bit of hip and shoulder to Tony Wallace, who in turn unintentionally goes into John Miller III. And then it was Reynolds who went off the track, so Wallace made his way by. And then what happened back? Well, just keep an eye on this because that is Sugamelli side by side with John Miller III. We'll see what happened with Coates here, and then we'll get your finishing results. But I want to see this battle to the completion here since we never really got that chance to do so. A shock DNF from Michael Coates. And there goes John Miller. Oh, man, hard on the defense was Tony Wallace. That's how Miller got by Tony Wallace. Reynolds saw that happening ahead of him and said, hey, I want in on this. And then that is Kevin Kramer just at the very tail end of this. Wow. And that was all for 9th, effectively, all between those drivers. Wow. All right, let's run this back again, and we'll see what happened with Michael Coates. What happened? Did he just... Oh, it was a solo spin, wasn't it? Was it just full throttle out of the corner? No? I have no idea what happened there. Oh, my goodness. Was it a... We're going to ride on board here. 30 seconds is not the time that I wanted to do, but let's just ride on board and listen in here. That's so weird. That's very unlike Michael Coates to intentionally DNF, especially when he's around the top 5. So I'm not sure what happened there. Let's double check to see. Well, remember when I said earlier about not having DNFs? Can't reset that counter, actually, so we're still got at least one DNF going. But what a victory from Michael Folds. What a race this was as well, coming across the line to take the checkered flag by a staggering 11.767 seconds. That's a tongue twister and a half right there. We'll go ahead and showcase the finishing results for you for this race, as Michael Folds dominant here at Sonoma by an 11.767 seconds. That is actually a tongue twister. If you want a new one, there you go. 767 seconds. Oh boy. Tom Sanders, first podium, I believe, of the series ever since we started broadcasting, especially since the last season. I could be wrong. I'll have to double check on that one. But shout out to Tom Sanders. Starts 7th, finishes in 3rd. Shout out to Matt Mullins as well. He started 9th, finishes in 4th. Matthew Bartlett started 8th. He rounds out the day in the top 5. Same goes for Gregorio Moreno Jr. He started 11th. He finishes in 6th place. Eugenio Polici started 5th, finishes in 7th on paper. Not a bad day, I would say. Jean-Francois St. Pierre started 12th, finishes in 8th. John Moe III started 6th, finishes in 9th. Tony Wallace in car number 10, started 10th, finishes in 10th. That's the most accurate reading of iRacing I have ever seen in the entire history of sim racing. That worked out perfectly for Tony Wallace. He was in the middle of about 3 different battles there too, but great job by him to round out the day in the top 10 position. Justin Reynolds started off in 15th, finishes in 11th. Frankie Sugamelli finishes in 12th after starting 13th. Kevin Kramer finishes in 13th after starting 16th. Aaron Reynolds finishes in 14th after starting in 14th. A little bit of contact earlier on, unintended contact earlier on. Didn't exactly make his day go too well, but luckily he does manage to finish out still in 14th. Eduardo De La Pena started 19th, finishes in 15th. Eric Schulhoff finishes in 16th. Pete Loops, 17th. Michael Coates finishes, DNFs technically in 18th. Kyle Genski, 19th, 20th. Matt Mosby, and 21st is Olivier Henrico. We can go to the next page. There we go. Unfortunately, running out the 21st position for that number 8 machine. Shout out to Matt Mosby for finishing out, despite the fact that he would still not even gain any positions whatsoever. But, well, now that we can take a little bit of a breather, we have our sights now set on next week. And taking one more look at the schedule of what we got upcoming, it's going to be Road Atlanta full Hermanos Rodriguez for the month of October, more specifically. Road Atlanta, the full layout, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, there we go. Mexico City Circuit, and then Donington Park, and then Alton Park to round out the month of October. Let's go ahead and throw up the B-roll for next week up on your screen and see what these drivers have in store. This time it's going to be the full circuit of Road Atlanta. No longer are we doing the short configuration that bypasses the S's. This time we're taking the entire circuit. That means the double right-hander that you see on your screen right now is going to be this double right-hander, a little bit of uphill, and absolutely a challenge as these drivers will fire themselves down into the chicane here after the long straightaway. Effectively, the long back straightaway, multiple passing opportunities at that portion. And no doubt that sand trap is going to be used at some point. I just hope it's not actually used, but it might come into use. So we'll see how things fare. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Racing Line Network. We hope to see you next week once again for another 30-minute race here of the Heusinkveld, the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld on the iRacing service. Once again, shout-outs to the ATVO team providing us the software for our graphics and trialing the new animated tickers for this month. If you don't figure out how that's used, go over to their Discord. Go over to, I think it's appgenerator.tv. Otherwise, ATVO over on iRacing, and then shout out to iRacing itself. Shout out to Heusinkveld. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Shout out to Heusinkveld as well for jumping on as a sponsor once again for the MX-5 season over on the iRacing service. And shout out to you for watching. We will see you all next week at the full circuit of Road Atlanta.